안녕 친구들 잘 지냈어요? I am actually, as you guys can tell from the darkness outside, I'm actually filming an early evening tea time. So I'm actually not going to be in my office on Friday. There is a function this Friday, which is tomorrow. And so I thought instead of missing another week, I have actually been staying at the office fairly late every night trying to get caught up with some work, some grading and such. So I thought, why not take a break on Thursday night? It'll be my last night, late night, at least for this week. Next week I still have to do a little bit more grading or a lot more grading. But I thought I would have some tea time with you guys. So you guys saw this from last week. And so, oh, I did want to show you my mug for this week. And my goal is for tea time to show you a different mug every week. And we'll see how many weeks I can go without repeating a mug, right? But anyway, this is my Sydney mug that, the Starbucks Sydney mug that Ellen from Canada, specific Calgary, Canada, sorry, I can't talk. It's been a long day, but that she sent me. So I believe she said that she was on vacation and thought of me, which was so sweet. Ellen, if you're watching this, thank you. But yeah, so I thought I would slowly start to use each of my mugs. I was actually thinking about using some of my college mugs, but my students usually, from time to time, students will get me college mugs of colleges that they are attending as kind of a thank you gift for, you know, whatever, letters of recommendation or just the mentoring process and things like that. And I am going to just hold off on doing that, using those mugs, at least for the time being, because those mugs, they're actually sitting over there, which is why I keep looking over in that direction. But I don't know. Maybe I'll use them at some point. You'll see me use them at some point, but not this week. So anyway, I am going to try to keep today's tea time, this week's tea time, a little bit shorter than the incredibly long 1 hour plus tea time of last week. And then, as I promised some of you, I thought that I would take a short little film of the fall decorations that I have in my office, just to kind of show you how I am brightening up my office, and making it a little cozier so that when students come for office hours, or, you know, just in general when people walk by my office, they'll feel as though, yes, fall is definitely here. So hope you're all doing well. If you haven't, you know, gotten your tea or coffee or what have you, pause the video, go make some, or coffee, tea, milk, whatever. And then, yeah, you can sit down and chat with me, or at least hear my monologue, right? But yeah, so this week I did want to talk about two things. I can't remember exactly what I think I said I was going to talk about. I've been eyeball deep in grading, but I did definitely want to finally on video review It's Okay, That's Love. That was last year's with Kong Hyojin and Jo In-sung. And then I believe I had said initially that I was going to talk about She Was Pretty, but then I realized we're only kind of in the beginning of the second half, and that I wanted to just kind of wait until the series was over. And so I then opted to talk about 20 again with Cheju and, of course, Lee Sang-yoon. But I realized I'm filming this on Thursday, and that series is going to end this Saturday. So I'm probably going to end up talking about something else. But without further ado, let me go ahead and share with you kind of my thoughts on It's Okay, That's Love. I know that some of you had, way back when you know the show was airing, had voiced the concern that it seemed a little dicey at times with kind of the psychology or treatment and things like that, and I think that turned off a lot of people. But I actually continued to watch the show, and I actually appreciated what the show did, primarily because it brought to the public's attention much more than I think any other drama did, really the importance and in some respects the nature of, psychiatric conditions and so on. So I think when I saw it, I chose definitely to suspend disbelief, as Coleridge says when you're dealing with fiction. Um, and a lot of it was because also when you're dealing with, I think, psychiatric issues, it really is a very sensitive topic. It can be a very debilitating condition that really just not only affects the person involved, the patient, but also family members and certainly the secondary support system that they have. So I think my tea is done. Hold on just a moment while I take care of my tea, or my tea bag. Yeah, but anyway, so it was kind of weird. It's Okay, That's Love. For those of you who remember watching it, I did like it, but for some reason it wasn't the all fire, like, crazy consumed K-drama that I thought it would be. At least it didn't consume me all that much. And I think part of it was just there was a certain coolness about the characters that never fully sucked me in. I don't know if anyone else feels that way. I remember watching an interview that Changnara did, because right around that time, also Fated to Love You was airing. And she made this comment that the It's Okay, That's Love couple, Kong Hyojin and Jo In-sung, they were the visual couple, which I thought, that's not true. You and Tanya were quite visual as well, but she did say they were kind of the visual couple. And I don't necessarily know if that was the reason why. I don't think so, because I've been just as like, not obsessed, but quite enthused about series in which the characters are very good looking, but I don't know, there was a certain coolness about the characterization that never really sucked me in. And so certainly I appreciated the two characters and their development, and I really had to suspend my disbelief when Kong Yoo-jin's character was able to get over her, I guess, paranoia or phobia, actually, and then resume a normal relationship with Choi In-sung. It just happened a little too quickly, so. But anyway, I suffered through that, or at least I told myself it's okay. It's in the context of the story, just move on. But I was really impressed by the way the show really highlighted and brought to attention the need for certainly continual medical maintenance, if you will, and just to really destigmatize what mental illness is in society. So, So the reason why I did like it is because, at least in the United States where I live now, I will say mental illness, or just talking about certain mental conditions or psychiatric conditions, the stigma has lessened quite a bit, to such an extent that some of my college students can confide in me about, what their conditions are, and it's not this huge source of shame and things like that. But I will say, even up until maybe like the 1990s, 1980s, at least around where I am, people were very reluctant to disclose their mental, status if they had a certain pre-existing condition, because of the way that the public would perceive them, which I think is such a travesty. Because in many respects, there's nothing that they can do. A lot of it is either in much the same way that we contract illnesses, either colds or flus or things like that. Certain things in our lives push sometimes the psyche or the emotions to the edge, and it fractures sometimes, so that the person mental health is not as healthy or able to cope with a lot of the regular things that they normally would. I don't know if I'm making sense. But anyway, so I really appreciated the show really for two reasons. One was to bring to the public's attention the state of mental condition and to try to really destigmatize that. And then the second, of course, was this, I guess you can call it a public service announcement, but to really try to encourage people to take better care of their mental health. as well, because oftentimes we think of mental health as something just, oh, you're not a strong character or you're a weak character, that kind of, um, those type of assessments. But really, mental health is very much like your physical health. In the same way that your physical health requires you to take, what is it, to take good care of it with vitamins, plenty of sleep, and all of those things. Same thing with mental health. And I loved how the show was able to spotlight that, certainly, and highlight that, and really be able to do so in as much, I think, a responsible manner as can be expected with such a sensitive topic. For me personally, every term when I teach freshman composition, I actually have my students talk about the way society views mental health and certain psychiatric conditions. There's a particular story that I have my students read. It's a Willa Cather story titled Paul's Case. And it's this great story that was published in 1905, but when you actually look through it, it's amazing how you start to wonder what kind of psychiatric issues did this protagonist have. And, in that time period, 1905, the people just didn't talk about things like that. And so, treatment certainly is not even considered for this character. And sadly, ultimately, he commits suicide. But that's one of the things that we actually look at with this, story in my class. And so when It's Okay, That's Love came out, and then it brought really to the public's awareness this need for looking at mental health differently. I was all for it. So anyway, so I really love the fact that Kong Hyojin, with It's Okay, That's Love, that was certainly a really great, meaningful project. She did the same thing actually when she paired up with Chang Hyuk and Shin Shin-e. Some of you may have remembered watching Thank You, 고맙습니다, and I really love that. Really introducing and in many ways educating the Korean public on the realities of AIDS and how it's not just people who live a very promiscuous lifestyle or what have you, but that a lot of times blood transfusions and just really to destigmatize the disease itself. I think I first heard of AIDS back in 1980s when I was in elementary school, and so fast forward however many decades, and there are still countries that are dealing with kind of the stigma of what a lot of these diseases and medical conditions are all about. So that was my 2 cents on It's Okay, That's Love. I finally got through the review. Yay! Anyway, I don't know if you guys noticed in the first video, but I didn't realize I went like this after every sip. Did you guys notice that? I wasn't going to mention it because I thought, if I was annoyed by rewatching my video, because I played it back before I uploaded, I was thinking, I don't want to bring it to their attention if they didn't notice it. But anyway, I've already said it, so you guys know. These videos go straight through. I don't edit or anything usually. So, yeah, there I did it again. Just think of it as my way of making sure I don't spit on the camera. Anyway, if you will take a look over here, right here, I was supposed to bring my little tea set for her. That is Minnie Grace. So that was actually a little doll that Tabitha made for me. So she's sitting and having tea, or pretend tea, while I do so. And she's been actually keeping me company all week long. So I just have her plop there, and then she watches me as I grade, of course, and conference with students, and things like that. So. In terms of just, I guess, chit-chat news, since I'm going to hold off on talking about She Was Pretty or 20 Again until that's over. I guess the most exciting drama that I'm looking forward to would be Oh My Venus. You guys know Sojuseo Shinmina and of course Bang Sung-woon. So I think that alone is making me very excited for November. That's also one of the reasons why I've been at the office late this entire week. I think, what time is it now? It's about 7:42. And I have been at the office pretty much until probably around 9 or 10 p.m. and part of it is just a lot of work, a lot of grading. I did mention I was taking an overload, right? So when I go home, I'm just not as productive. There's a lot of distractions, people who need my attention, and blah blah blah. So, and a furball. Remember my little 털뭉치? He will insist on glomming onto my lap, and so I try to go home at a little bit of a later time than usual, or a lot, but definitely I'm much more productive this way. So there you have it. I guess the other thing that I could talk to you about briefly, because I did want to take a short tea time today. The OST for Noble My Love came out, and I don't know about you guys, but I love buying OSTs. Part of it is because I want to support the album and all of the artists, singers, writers, composers who contributed to the project, certainly by buying a legitimate copy instead of downloading songs. But I also just like having the original artwork, right? It's almost as though by buying that OST, I can kind of lay my hands on a physical copy of, or a little physical portion of the drama. But anyway, I think Yes Asia is selling it for about $14.99. This is not a sponsored video, trust me. But if you actually go on, I think it's called gmarket.com. It's like kind of Korea's equivalent of like Amazon.com. And because I have friends in Korea, I'm so tempted to ask them or one of them to buy it for me. Because I looked at the prices and one is like, I think 만원 or 만 something, right? Or one is 만천원 or, it's just, and I was like, oh, it's only $10 equivalent or it's only like $11 equivalent. Whereas if I were to get it through Yes Asia, it's $14.99. The plus side is I would be able to get it earlier with Yes Asia, and I don't have to pay for shipping. If I go through my friend, I was just going to have her hold on to the CD until I visited Korea in January, which means, what? It's October 15th today, so I would be looking at a good 3 months wait, which, I could totally do, but yeah, there was a part of me I was like, should I wait or should I get it now? So I guess you'll find out what I decide to do if you hear on either Facebook, Twitter, or the bulletin post that I went ahead, bit the bullet, and ordered, right? So good. It's been quite a long week. So I hope you guys are having a really good time. It's a relatively short video today, but I'm hoping to keep all of these videos about 20 minutes long. I certainly don't need to take a tea time break longer than 30 minutes. I still unfortunately have a lot of grading to do. And then on the weekends, a lot of my time is spent at church with my church minions and all of that stuff. So, yeah. Oh, speaking of my church minions, she said something the other day that really cracked me up. Some of you who have been following me for a while, you know that one of the reasons why I do try to keep Musings of a Twinkie at kind of a PG-13 level is partly because I have younger readers, readers who are about 12, 13, and onwards. So this particular minion has been reading my blog on and off since she was about 13, and she is now 15. And imagine my surprise when I found out last weekend that she still reads musings from time to time. And so I said, "Oh, really?" And she said, "Yeah." And then she was saying, "Yeah, you're very different online." And I asked her, "Oh, really? What do you mean?" Because you guys know when I think we're all like this too, depending on the venue or the people that we interact with, our personalities change a little bit. So certainly on the blog, I tend to fangirl a little bit more. So it's kind of funny is I'll be typing squee or whatnot, and outwardly my facial expression is the same. Very try to be as dignified as I can, but I'm sure as I type I have a silly grin on my face. But yeah, she made this comment that I seem very excited and much more That's what she said. Not vocal, but you know what I mean, right? Because when she sees me at church in the role of teacher, she usually sees me very calm for the most part. And so I just thought it was funny. I'm sure some of you guys are like that too, right? To the rest of the world, you are this adult K-drama watcher, and then online, you kind of become a little bit of that fangirl or the fanboy, right? So anyway, I think I'm going to cut it short here. We're at about 20 minutes. I did want to include, for those of you who want to take a look at what my office a little bit looks like, or at least the way I've decorated for the fall. You guys can take a look at that right after this. So I will see you next week. I hope 20 minutes was enough time for you guys to finish your tea, and I'll see you maybe next week or the week after, depending on what my schedule looks like. And I think these 20-minute tea times are totally doable. So I may find myself filming on Thursday night rather than on Friday. Especially, I think, because you'll notice, because it's so dark, I think the lighting is better when I film at night instead of during the afternoon / morning when I was filming that first episode. So, all right, I don't know if this made any sense, but until next week, 안녕, 잘 지내세요.
All right, so for those of you who are interested in seeing what my office looks like, on top of my file cabinet, I have these cute little ceramic owls with these little shoelace kind of feet, dangly feet. And then I don't know if you guys can see, but that is a ceramic owl vase that I just put a bunch of really pretty fall foliage, silk flowers, and then 2 little pumpkins. There's this weird beam that all of the offices have, and yes, it's awesome. I do have a window view in my office. So I just bought some wall decals that say, "Believe all things are possible if you believe." It's actually from Scripture, Mark chapter 9, verse 23. And then you'll notice there are some more owl stuff. There's an Eiffel Tower. It's actually a jewelry box or a jewelry stand here, but I use it to hang some of the little cute knickknacks that my friends have sent me. And then if you back away from here, and then there's my backpack, and at the corner of my desk are these cute little owls, bobblehead owls that I have, and they center around or accent this little stone or a ceramic stone thing that says smile. And here are, it's a pumpkin jar of candy for my students so that they can have a little sweet thing when they come and visit me. Now, a lot of these books are actually from the previous professor who was in my office before I moved in, so I'll have to kind of clear those out. But this is what I've actually done on top, and I'm actually hoping to move these down here. And then I actually have a bunch of college mugs that students have given me as gifts in the past, so that will probably move down below. But yeah, so there's UC Berkeley, UCSD, Ohio State, and then Irvine. I've got a few more at home. They'll eventually make their way.